All right. So I guess now you understand what the plan was.
Absolutely. At Colts Law, we talk Indianapolis Colts football.
We're going to stick to what we know, fundamentals and technique, 1% better every day.
What's going on, Colts Nation? And hey, fins up. What's going on with you guys here as well? Appreciate each and every one of you. Hey, man, I got Tony here from Phins Talk. What's going on, my guy?
I'm good, man. Great week for football coming up. We're finally going to get back to 500, like an easy week for us. So,
yeah, I saw your channel. I watched some of the stuff earlier today, and there's a lot of Dolphins fans out there that honestly believe this is going to be a walk in the park in week 4. Why is that? I'm just curious.
We know how good of a team that we have. We know where our struggles are. And we just feel like this is the winnable game when you got, Carson Wentz around here hopping around on 2 bad ankles. Our defense is going to do a number on them. And we're just going to hope that our offense, helps the defense. And we believe they will because we're starting to get it together.
Yeah, speaking of defense starting to get it together, you guys picked up in the first round the guy I was hoping the Colts would pick up, honestly. I was like, you know what? At pick 20, it didn't matter if it was Kwity Paye or Jalen Phillips that the Dolphins was going to grab. I figured the Colts would grab the next guy on that list, and you guys got the guy I was hoping for, Jalen Phillips. But I heard he didn't really exactly have the best start in the NFL, and I'm looking at the depth chart, and he's like way back on the Dolphins depth chart. What's up with that?
Well, he started out camp with the injuries, so they took their time with that. And then our organization, we believe in once you come back from an injury, we want to ease you in versus just having you go all out. So the first game, barely non-existent. And they also have them a lot in the passing game too. They want to utilize him in the passing game a lot. Second game, still not very active. But the last game, he still didn't play like all game, but at the same token, he actually, you can see his presence starting to show up. So it's a good sign, headed in the right direction. I think we're going to be getting him right up to speed pretty soon to be rocking and rolling full time and 100%.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm even though he's on the Dolphins, I really, I root for the kid because he's had a really rough time through college. Hey, starting off with a super chat right off the bat. Kenneth Evanowski, $10 drops in. Lawrence, I'm gonna drop this to you actually because you would know a little bit more. What's the Dolphins' weaknesses that you would like to see, or that you think that the Colts offense could try to exploit?
Well, I feel like we're getting better in this area, but it's still an area that needs to be tested if you all are going to have a chance to win in this game, and that's running the football. You're going to have to run the football, and you're going to have to do it consistently. The secondary, that's a pretty tough sell. The passing against our secondary isn't going to be an easy task. I'm not saying that it can't be done at all, but in the secondary, the only room that you have to maybe explore is really in the slot or trying to attack some of the safeties who are playing great football, but they can give up a play here and there. But it's really the slot depending on who we have in that position. So running the ball, attacking the slot, but if you think you're going to be eating on the outside, you're wasting your time.
No, you guys have, in my opinion, one of the best, if not the best secondary in all of NFL right now. Your front seven, like you said, it's kind of questionable from what I'm able to tell. There's some games they show up, some games they're like, where they go, right? You was talking about trying to stop the run for the Indianapolis Colts. The best way of doing that is keeping the Colts offense off the field in general, because last week the Colts ran the ball over 6 yards per carry, but only ran it 17 times as a team. And that's harsh. It's really tough to get a rhythm going when you're not running the football on a consistent basis. And with Wentz, as you said, on hobbled ankles right now, you need to utilize that run game. And Frank Reich, the head coach of the Colts, under a lot of fire from Colts fans this past week because of that Titans game. only running it 17 times as opposed to passing it
Yeah.
like 37 times,
Now be clear though. If you do have success running the ball, when you get around in the red zone, all of that's going to stop. So if you're running that ball, you can do it all day in the regular flow of the game. And I think you may have some success unless we tighten up. But as soon as you get in that red zone, that's going to stop. And you're going to have to throw the ball because once things start tightening up in that red zone and the box actually gets loaded, we love to go to our one-on-one, man-to-man. And that's what teams have had a hard, time doing is actually putting up the real points on us. A lot of teams turn it over in the red zone against us. So if you all running the ball well, I see some success, but I do not see it in the red zone. But time will tell.
Yep. We're going to find out this Sunday. Another question. When it comes to your team and specifically Jacoby Brissett, now that Tua is injured, Jacoby Brissett's your guy, right? And Colts fans, of course, know him very, very well, being a starter and a backup last year for the Indianapolis Colts. Guy that has got a cannon but doesn't like to throw it deep unless the guy's like super wide open, right? He's very careful with the football. He doesn't like turning the football over. What did you see from Jacoby last week against the Raiders?
Jacoby, scale of 1 to 10, I give him a 6.5. He's that type of guy. Not taking the top off of everything, but serviceable, manageable, makes plays when he can. We found something at the end of the game last week. Down big, brought us all the way back, forced the overtime, spreading the offense out, and just picking the defense apart. As far as throwing a deep ball, that's something that we don't see much at all from Jacoby. But in the game last week, he threw 2 deep balls late in that game. Both of them, clear as day, pass interferences and no calls. Dropped right in the bucket. One of the biggest controversies for us this week. I mean, right on the money, and the guy just hugging the receivers before the ball even gets there twice, but no call. And it was what it was, but it was our only shots. And, and those shots were pretty much to win the game, and we didn't get the calls. So I look for us to open it up a lot more, take more of those shots going forward, because we've been trying to methodically just move down the field, first down. And we're starting to see a little success doing that, which opens up the deep pass. So we'll see if they open it up early or if they, they're patient and feel the game out first.
That's interesting. Well, here's the thing about pass interference calls. I've noticed this so far this year on just about every team. Generally, the visiting team don't get pass interference calls on their offense, right? It seems like most of the time it's the home team that gets those calls, and then the visiting team. That's what the Colts had to deal with last week in Tennessee. So it might be a good thing that this is at your guys' house this week. Curious about now the Indianapolis Colts. They're able to generate a lot of pressure up the middle, but they haven't really found their niche from the ends yet. But with DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart up the middle, they seem to be able to get a lot of pressure, get inside behind the line of scrimmage, and not just against passes, but against the run as well to kind of stop that run. How good is your guys' guards in the center? Where would you rank them?
Young, prone to make mistakes. But it just depends on what week you catch them. How they're playing that week. I don't have an answer for you really because look, both of our guards are on their second year in the NFL. Our center, Dieter, has been there a few years, but these guys are all young. I mean, we have the youngest offensive line in the NFL. So they're making mistakes. They're also making some plays. So it's hit and miss. It's just a matter of, I guess I would ask, how is your front four? How is that pass rush?
Yeah, right now, like I said, most of our pass rush seems to come from the center, right? Like I said, all-pro DeForest Buckner seems to make plays all the time. Grover Stewart, the defensive tackle beside him, a lot. We have Kwity Paye, but he's injured. So he's kind of one of those situations where You don't really see a lot from him. He may not even play in this game. And the rest of the guys, between Al-Qadim Muhammad and Kimoko Ture, Taekwon Lewis, Ben Banogu, they're kind of unproven guys. And they haven't been able to really generate a lot of outside pressure when it comes to that. So, I mean, last week we got one pressure on Tannehill, and Tannehill took off 3 different times, averaging almost 20 yards a carry. You know,
I was scouting you guys last week because we played both of you guys this year, so I was scouting the game. I saw the whole game.
Yeah. It was not a pretty picture, and I know that Jacoby can move. He's not exactly the fastest guy, but he's tough to bring down. He's kind of like, a prime Ben Roethlisberger type. You know what I mean? The big body, hard to bring down kind of person. So it'll be an interesting matchup in this one on whether or not the Indianapolis Colts will leave a spy for Jacoby Brissett or not. I don't know. We'll find out because, like I said, he can extend a play, but unless he's quarterback sneaking it, I don't see him just taking off down the field a whole lot either.
I can't see you all leaving a spy.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have too much to worry about across the middle of the field with Waddle, and different guys. You're going to have too much to worry about it from our receiving core. I just think he has a game where he's in the pocket and he gets his opportunities wherever they fit in. So we'll see how that goes. I just think that this is the game where our offense gets it rolling.
How's Mike Gaseki? Because I've really liked that kid as a tight end last year and the year before. How's he been doing so far this season?
Frustrated. We're not frustrated. He's frustrated. He's one of the most open people on the field almost every play, but the ball doesn't always come to him. So I think they're starting to see that more and more and starting to make it a point to get him the ball. He had his best game last week. I believe like 86 yards. But, I mean, this man, if you look at what's happening on the field with the opportunities that we miss on him, he can easily put up 125 every game. And we're going to have to figure that out. And I think that we're headed in that direction, and we'll see if that continues.
So I got a question from the chat in here. I really wanted to bring this up. Super Alien 86 asks, what is the general opinion on Tua? Are you guys done with him, or do you expect to give him another year / chance?
Tua's going to be expected to get another year after this if we don't trade for Deshaun Watson. That's just the reality. If Deshaun Watson isn't in the picture, I could see Tua getting a third year. But I believe the goal right now is to go after Deshaun Watson. They're just trying to figure out how they can get the price to be right. So it's not really a give up on Deshaun Watson. It's more so you got a once in a lifetime opportunity. I mean, come on, it's not an indictment of Tua, but it is, understanding that you got a guy who's proven. I'll just put it like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, on the field, Deshaun Watson's a top 3 quarterback in the NFL, hands down, right?
I say top 5 to people just to make them feel better, so I don't have to argue. I won't disagree with you on top 3.
Yeah, I've been saying all offseason, even with Tua being there and being the starter during the offseason, I was like, the 2 teams that I think that Deshaun Watson could go to and make a serious difference was the Miami Dolphins and the Washington football team, to be frank. I mean, both those teams with a really good quarterback would be a very scary team. So
listen, man, wishful thinking. We're just waiting.
Does Deshaun Watson's legal issues kind of give you a pause, though?
I mean, they definitely will give you a pause. But it's just a situation where, me personally, my faith basically says everyone can be forgiven for anything they do. But I will say this, it gives you a pause because he won't be available right away. So the price is what makes a difference. And, you don't know what the severity is until different law enforcement agencies come out and say we will or we will not be pursuing any charges. So That's something that I believe happens within the next 30 days, if I'm not mistaken. They had like a 6-month window to come out and formally say whether they would be pursuing charges or not. And I think that 6-month window comes at the beginning of next month, not the beginning of next month, but October. No, November or something, October or something like that. I got to go check. I read the article that said, gave me the information on that. So we just got to see how it goes, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not a situation that you take lightly. You know, I'm just one of those people that I'm going to be neutral and that I'm not going to say, you know, he's absolutely wrong or he's absolutely right or these women are absolutely wrong or they're absolutely right. I'm the individual that lets the system work itself out. And no matter what happens, you know, one thing I will say as a conviction towards him is that whether you're convicted or not, there are character flaws that definitely should be worked on and addressed and improved, excuse me. And that's him getting around the right people, having the right leadership, and helping him become a better man in life, regardless, you know, helping him see the big picture, because there's still, regardless of how the outcome is, they can say no charges, we saw no wrongdoing. At the end of the days, you know, he need people in his corner that's going to make sure that he makes wiser decisions, in my opinion. So that's where I stand with it. And time will tell. We'll see how it works out.
Yeah, I've kind of, when I'm looking at the Watson situation, I was looking at it, and to be fair, I did not expect this to go towards Deshaun Watson, but it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
No, my thought process is this investigation has been going on for a long time now. They've had a long period of time, and the NFL has had their own investigation, and if the NFL was going to drop the exemption on Watson, I feel like it would have happened by now, because all they would need is one. All they need is one even somewhat clarifying, you know, evidence.
And he would have already been charged.
And he would have already been done. All it would have took 22 or 23, just one.
And that's what people that's what people aren't realizing, bro. It's like, if the police had evidence on one of the accusations, he would have already had been charged, and they would have continued to investigate the other ones. Because once you have the evidence that suggests probable cause or whatever it may be, they contact and say, we would like you to turn yourself in. We will be formally charging you. And there isn't a case where they say, well, we got charges on this one, but let's keep seeing. No, they're charged you right away because you're a danger to society, or to repeat that act while you're free. So that's just a part of the legal system, and that just hasn't happened. So that's what I say. Let it all play out. Let time tell. And I could be wrong. I just, you know, this is a guess, 100% a guess. I just feel like at the end of the day, I don't think criminal charges will be filed, and I think that settlements will be reached, and life will move on. The NFL will step in, give him a suspension. He'll appeal it. It'll be cut in half, and life moves on, and you win football games, and people will forget about it. It's the Kobe Bryant effect. Rest in peace.
Yeah, most likely. I mean, that's kind of the way it looks like it's heading right now. I'm gonna take a moment to plug myself, if you don't mind. Absolutely. Guys, thanks for everybody for joining in here. There is a ton of guys that followed you over here, so I appreciate each and every one of you. Please don't forget to hit the like button. Hit subscribe. If you're not subscribed, tag that notification bell so you're notified next time I go live or upload a video. Also, if you'd like to support me, and you can't afford to use that link in the description to drop a super chat or a tip, because I have that instead of YouTube, because YouTube takes like 50% of the money, which is ridiculous. You know, so I've got a link in here that gives, you know, your tips will go to me at 96%, which is a whole lot better than 50%, and your stuff still pops up on the screen and we still get to it, no problem. But if you can't afford to do that, the best way of supporting this channel is going to another link in the description for Newsbreak, where I upload Colts news all the time. This video is sponsored by Newsbreak. Newsbreak is an app used over 1.5 billion times a month by people just like you to get local news via articles or videos by those who are focused on that specific area. People like myself. Just use the link in the description of this video to download it. Then search a city, state, or someone specific, like myself, Colts Law. Then make sure to follow them so you'll get all the news fresh as it comes out. Do you know anything about Newsbreak? You part of Newsbreak? You uploaded that?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Did I upload that?
No. Do you know anything about Newsbreak?
Yeah, I'm actually on Newsbreak.
That's what I was asking, if you was actually. So go check out him as well and give him a follow, man.
A lot of my content is on Newsbreak, so check me out on Newsbreak. Also Dolphins. I'm sitting right there. Believe in Phins Talk. With TD. And YouTube, you already know where to find me. TD Phins Talk. All right, I'm everywhere. TD Phins Talk.
Yeah.
All right?
Well, there's a couple links in the description of this video where you can go find him directly on his YouTube channel and his Twitter account. So make sure you go do that as well if you haven't already, because like half of you, I'm sure already do from what I'm looking at the chat right now. There's another question in here that I would like to bring up. And I got to scroll all the way up to figure out where it's at. Here we are.
How bad are we going to beat the Colts?
No. He says, you always hear Waddle this, Fuller that. But Devontae Parker, you don't hear as much from him this year as you have in previous years. What's going on? Who's the best receiver on your team?
We're only 3 games in, okay? And again, we haven't had the best quarterback play. To utilize these guys to the full extent. And as the season goes, I believe that opens up. But you also have to understand, we brought in 2 additional wide receivers this year, in Waddle and Fuller. Who's the best wide receiver on our team? I believe it's Will Fuller, but he hasn't proven to do that yet because last week was his first game. And on that last play where they passed, it should have been called a pass interference. He actually got hurt on the play. So he didn't practice today. We'll see if he's available on Sunday. But the beauty of this team is we built it for depth. You know, we didn't have these receivers last year. And a guy like Will Fuller goes down, supposed to be our best wide receiver, doesn't matter. You still got the whole core there, plus Waddle. If Waddle and Fuller were to go down for some reason, it's still the same core we had last year. So no concerns in that area, you know. But I would say Will Fuller is our best wide receiver. Parker would be the second best. But as a Miami Dolphins, Parker is number 1 because he's proven more as a Dolphin. But again, quarterback play has to be consistent for us to see these guys really thrive on a consistent basis. And I think we get that this week. Because I wanted to ask you about your secondary. How confident are you?
All right, so this year, our secondary is taking kind of a dip. Now, last week, Xavier Rhodes came back for the first time this season. He missed the first 2 weeks due to injury, so he had a little bit of a down game trying to get back into the rhythm of things. But he was a excellent corner last year for the Colts. Kenny Moore also, a fantastic slot corner, maybe one of the best in the NFL at the job itself, but again, another guy who just hasn't been living up to the expectations that we were hoping for. Rock Ya-Sin, the third-year corner, has had a standout year this year. Absolutely fantastic. He's played 80% of the snaps, allowed 4 catches for an average of 6 yards a catch. That's it. You know, that's pretty solid being an outside corner. But he's hurt. We don't even know. I don't even think he's going to be playing this game. You know, so that's another issue.
Injuries for y'all.
Yeah, oh man, we have got injuries on. Darius Leonard's dealing with an ankle injury. You know, I mean, there's problems across the board for the Colts defense. Last year, the Colts had the number 2 run defense in the NFL. This year, our run defense has dropped dramatically. It's like 28th currently. Now, granted, you look at some of the guys that we've been facing against. You know, the Rams got a good run game. We faced Derek freaking Henry, and Chris Carson's no slob when it comes to running the football as well. But last week we did better. We only gave up, I think, 4 yards a carry to Derek Henry. He just ran it a lot, right? He carried it a lot. Oh, Ken says that Ken just dropped $5 in the tip jar. Appreciate you, Ken.
Nice.
Says did not know that YouTube steals your tips. Yes, they do. It is a problem. All right,
Huge percentage.
huge percentage. But for the secondary, though, right now the secondary, even though they have not been living up to the expectations, they're still 12th in the NFL, which is not terrible. You know, that's not bad at all. They gave up, I think they give up an average of 1 or 2 big plays a game, and that's about it. You know, and that's still 1 or 2 big plays a game. And when you got guys on you know, just a ton of targets for Jacoby Brissett to throw to, that's a scary situation. I see, you know, looking at all these guys that we had just discussed, it is a little bit worrisome. It is a little bit worrisome.
But like I said before, who is Wentz going to throw the ball to?
Oh, Wentz has got a ton of people.
Against our secondary, who is he going to throw the ball to?
Probably, if we put Paris Campbell back in the slot instead of playing the outside wide receiver that he's been doing all year, because T.Y. Hilton's out. So Paris Campbell's been playing outside, and he's not effective outside. He's effective as a slot receiver because of his quickness and his speed. Michael Pittman Jr. will probably be covered by your man. I'm assuming because he's been our top dog this year. He's on pace to get about 1,300 yards receiving this year. He's really stepped up pretty good. Think he's had 1 drop so far this year out of a ton of targets.
Is a lot of that coming deep or crossing or?
Mostly you got that they're mid-range receptions, between 10, 15 yards generally, you know, per reception. And then he gets yak yards afterwards because he's a big, strong, you know, he's like 6'4", 6'5", 225, you know, he's able to break tackles and do pretty good in contested catching. Our other guy, Zach Pascal, also kind of very similar in the same aspect that Michael Pittman is. He's a big guy who likes to run routes to get open rather than basing it off speed, and using his body to kind of, you know, block corners out so that he's able to make those receptions. But I mean, I have faith in our receiving. I have faith in our receivers. And you'll see Nyheim Hines split out wide all the time as a wide receiver. He's scary out there as a wide receiver.
You mean the tight end?
The running back.
The running back, I'm sure. Yeah.
The Nyheim Hines, the running back who just signed a 3-year, $6 million extension per year. We see him split out wide all the time to bring a linebacker out, right? And kind of create a mismatch situation. So
that may be something that you all may be able to try to exploit, but it sounds like I'm hearing about 4 interceptions for Wentz.
He hasn't really been throwing a lot of interceptions. And we played the Rams, and
no, we'll catch him up. We'll catch him up. I can see Xavier Howard and Byron Jones, just some other in the guys you named. Nick Needham doing some damage as well. It's gonna be a rough day for y'all. I can tell you now. You know, nobody respects the Colts, though.
No, we
not
don't
this
get
year.
respect.
With all the injuries.
Yeah, when you're staring up now. Granted, to be fair, again, the Colts have played 3 teams that are good, right? I mean, the playoff caliber teams. You got Seattle, you got the Rams, who might be the best team in the NFC, which I personally feel we should have beat when we played them. Because we left 14 points on the board inside the 5-yard line. And then, of course, you know, the Titans, who they're pretty good. They've got some weapons as well on that offense, between Julio Jones and A.J. Brown and then, of course, Derrick Henry. But, you're right. I mean, you look at the Colts' overall record, and no one's going to respect 0-3. And it's not going to happen.
0-4.
Okay, if you say so. I predicted the Colts was going to lose against the Rams, and they lost. I predicted the Colts was going to lose to the Titans. I was off by 1 point or 2 points on the total score. 1 point each team. This game I have yet to do it because I want to wait for the injury report. I got to see the injury report for each team so I could do that manual matchup. You know what I mean?
We're gonna give y'all a gift. We're gonna make y'all the front runners for the number 1 overall pick. How you like that?
So what would happen if the Dolphins lost?
It would be chaos in Miami.
Really?
Yeah, that'll be our season.
You think so? In a 17-week season?
No. Well, if we lost, we're trading for Deshaun Watson the very next day. Because then we're gonna have the Bucs the week after, and if we start 1-5, which basically means you would have to go pretty much 11-1 or whatever it is for the rest of the season. Which means we probably would make the play. Now, don't get me wrong. We got the 5th easiest schedule in the NFL. After the Bucs game, out of 12 games, only 3 of them are contenders. Everybody else is winnable, but it doesn't matter. You start 1-5, and even if you lost those 3 games, you lost 8 games on the season. The best you could do is 9-8. So. Well, 1-4, excuse me, not 1-5. But I'm gonna tell you now, that would be a huge disappointment. Heads will roll, and the Miami Dolphins would need to do something drastic for the organization because the fans are fed up. I'm fed up. We're better than what we are. We're not making great decisions, and at the end of the day, we need to go ahead and find our franchise quarterback.
It kind of sounds like the Dolphins fans and the Colts fans are very similar in this situation where, Colts fans, we know we have a good team. We know we're better than 0-3. You know what I mean? And it's just sickening.
But my bad. Our misery has gone way longer, though. You all at least got to live the Andrew Luck days. You had competent quarterback play. Great quarterback play. At least you got to have hope in those days. We haven't had hope in 20 years.
You had hope last year until the last game of the season.
That wasn't hope. That was overachieving. That was us hoorahing.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, if any Dolphin fan who wants to be honest, we overachieved last year. And that had a lot to do with great coaching at the time. Sparks in that defense led the way, man. That defense was smothering. It really led the way last year. This year, I mean, we've already seen glimpses of coming down to earth. There's no reason why we should have lost that Raiders game last week. No reason whatsoever. And we lost that game last year had it not been for Ryan Fitzpatrick's last 2 drives to win it. So it's more of the same. We need a competent quarterback, or we just have to be patient and let the guy that we have now grow and hope that he turns out to be a difference maker. And not many people are feeling that could be the case. So time will tell. We got to let it play out, but it's tough, man.
Yeah, Colts fans are not used to the last time. Now, to be fair, we have seen this happen. We've seen our season start off 1-5 and then make the playoffs, and that was just a few years ago. It can be done.
Yeah, I know it can, but not if we don't get great quarterback play.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. And I mean, that could be a silver lining if the Colts win. My loyalist sitting here said, done. If the Colts get a W and we can get Watson out of the AFC South, we're fine with that.
He's already out. He's already out. It's just
it's whether or not. First, I don't.
Well, you hope he doesn't go to another AFC South team.
Oh my goodness,
he ain't going to Tennessee.
Where would he go? They sure as hell are not going to trade him to the Colts.
Yeah.
And
who else is it?
Well, is Jacksonville, who just went out and spent their first-round pick on Trevor Lawrence. Now, granted, Trevor Lawrence is leading the NFL in interceptions right now.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. You can replace Trevor Lawrence,
right?
You can replace Trevor Lawrence for man. That would be tormenting,
right,
for y'all.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
But no, I could see it. It's just whether or not the Dolphins would be willing to give up all that draft pick and collateral for Watson. I mean, it'd be worth. I'd drop 3 first-round picks on Watson in a heartbeat.
Yeah, but the price is bigger than that.
Yeah, I know. Well, it was bigger than that because
they're still trying to make it bigger than that.
Yeah. I don't. What's the point of them not allowing him to play and not trading him? That don't make any sense to me at all.
Because they want to get what they want to get for him, and they don't have to rush. They know they're not going to win or go anywhere this year. $10 million, it was part of the salary cap anyway. So who cares? Let's get what we want. And if they end up getting 3 firsts and 3 seconds or whatever, even more, then they can actually hold their head up high and feel good about the trade. But just to give them away for the cheap, 3 firsts is a cheap for him.
Yeah.
So if they only get 3 firsts, they'll feel some type of way because you still got to hit on those first 2.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if you get Watson, you're guaranteed you're picking in the late 20s, if not early 30s.
Yeah.
Every round.
And you all played against him last year.
Mm-hmm.
And people are making it seem like, oh, he only won 4 games, and I'm explaining to them, but not that offense. That offense put up points.
Last year, Deshaun Watson had a career year. It was the first time he threw over 5,000 yards. He had a career year in completion percentage. He had a career year in touchdown interception ratio.
Only 7 picks out of all of that.
Yeah. I mean, Deshaun Watson lit it up. It was the defense. And they lost games. The majority of their losses was by a field goal or less, right?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and so, I mean, I think what happened was last year the Texans tanked. The first 6 games, they wanted Bill O'Brien out the damn doors, right? And I don't blame them. I think they did that, and then they found themselves in that hole, and they were fighting, and because they were tanking and losing on purpose, it's really hard to get out of a hole once you start doing that. As a Colts fan, from the 80s, I know this, right? And, as a Dolphins fan, it's hard to get out of that losing situation. So I don't know what to expect from Houston if and when they do trade Watson, because they've given away every good player that they've had.
Cleared house.
Every stinking one of them.
Cleared house.
They did.
But you make sure that's 2 W's for you guys. If not, shame on the Colts.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, this is a do or die game for Miami and for the Colts, so I expect a tough outing. I expect these guys to go out there this Sunday and really put everything out there on the field.
Yeah, I just see us getting a W at the end of the day. Our defense leading the way and our offense doing enough to win the game. We have to, man. I mean, these guys are going to come out scrapping. They're going to give it their all. This secondary, I just see them smothering you guys and us actually sending extra pressure towards Wentz, who can't, move the way that he loved to. Look for some real pressure to come his way. Someone would need to get fired if they let him sit in the pocket relaxed all day.
Right.
Like, really. Come after him, force him to run, and that way you'll get a chance to see that those ankles aren't going to be trying to bail him out. And I think it's going to be a long day for you all. And I'm going to be honest, I don't think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a statement by the Dolphins, and they're going to put some points up, and they're going to get up and at it, man. I really do.
I would feel a lot more comfortable if Wentz wasn't dealing with the ankle injuries.
Yeah, that's a huge blow.
Yeah,
that's a huge blow.
Because Wentz was so out of his element not being able to move and extend a play in the game against the Titans. The Titans just sent the house all the time, consistently, and they were, daring him, throw it quick, run the football. Mm-hmm. And the Colts just weren't doing that. And I'm hoping that Frank Reich learns from his mistakes this past Sunday and does utilize the run and the quick pass a lot more than letting Wentz sit in the pocket and be a target for a defense, But we have yet to wait and see, like you say. We got to wait and see what happens, man. Personally, I think Wentz should have not even played this past Sunday. I think they should have sat him and let him fully get rested. But, that decision's out of my hands. That's way above my pay grade.
He's questionable again, and I'm pretty sure they'll play him again.
Yeah. No, I'm 100%. Unless there's a major setback. You know what I mean? Like he rolls his ankle during practice or something, and
Well, y'all are really in trouble if you don't play, though.
Yeah, I think so as well. But I mean, I like Eason, but it seems like the Colts don't like Eason nearly as much either. What about your guys' backup? What if Jacoby Brissett gets hurt? How do you feel about your backup?
Man, everybody, I don't get it, but everybody's asking for him to play anyway.
Really?
He's not a scrub. He's not a bum, but, he hasn't seen real action. He just comes in and balls out preseason every year, but he doesn't make the 53. So, I mean, it is what it is. And they always bring him back to the practice squad, but he's capable of making plays for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Just, the rigors of a real NFL game. I just don't, I don't know because we haven't seen him in the situation before, but you never know. You'd be shocked.
Angry Homie in the chat shouting out, hit that like button. I'd appreciate it.
Yes,
Thanks
sir.
so much. Yeah, I've had Angry Homie in here. I know he's a follower of yours, ain't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
he's
that's
been
the homie.
Yeah, he's been in.
You got a lot of people over here right now.
Yeah. You got that's almost all Dolphins talk over here on the chat.
Taking over, man, like we're going to do on Sunday.
It's all good. I don't mind you guys being here. I appreciate you guys being here.
And subscribe to the channel. This is the homie, man. This is the homie.
I got Justin Herbert in here. Holy crap. Colts got some quality losses. This is going to be an interesting game, is what he said.
Yeah, it will. It will. It really will.
I think so, too. It just, like I said, it depends upon – honestly, it depends upon both quarterbacks, It depends upon how much pressure Wentz is going to be under this game and whether or not Jacoby Brissett is going to be able to take advantage of the deep shots when they're afforded him, I think, because that's a situation as a Colt fan, like you said last week. But then again, he was down, right? That's why he ended up having to throw those deep shots, right?
Yeah.
When a game is close, generally throughout the game, he's not really known for taking those deep shots. So it's going to be an interesting game. I think turnovers are going to play a huge part. It's fun. Colts won the turnover battle 3-0 last week. And,
yeah, I saw that, but still lost.
And still lost. I don't see that. That does not happen. That is such a rare thing.
I don't think we turned the ball over last week, other than the safety that we threw in our own end zone. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think we actually turned it over outside of that safety and I don't know why we did what we did, but yeah, I think we actually took care of the football. And and I think we turned them over, if I'm not mistaken. Something happened. I think we had like a sack fumble or something too, and ran it back for a touchdown at the beginning of the game. Something. I'm already blurred. I've gotten that game out of my mind, man. No reason why we should have lost.
We're going to close this out here in just a moment, but real quick, Gaskins in your run game. How are you feeling about that against this defense?
Feel great about Gaskins if they'd actually run him more. If they'd run them more, man. Oh, yeah, it was a pick six. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was a pick six we got last week. They let me know in the comment section. I don't remember. I got that game out of my mind, y'all. But Gaskins, averaging like 5-6 yards per carry. But they don't run them consistently, man. Jacoby Brissett threw the ball 49 times.
Wow.
Versus the Raiders. And we ran for 130-something yards. Why weren't we continuing to run?
That's the very interesting question that Colts fans were asking last week against the Titans when Jonathan Taylor was averaging 6 yards a carry and only got 10 touches. Wow. How in the world does that happen?
Coaching, man.
Oh, it's frustrating. Angry Homie with that super chat in there. It's going to pop up on my screen here in a minute, but appreciate the $2. Says Phins up. Respect the Colts law. Hey, I appreciate that. I respect right back at you. Very impressed with how the Dolphins looked last year, honestly, in all honesty. Even with Fitzpatrick back there, I thought you guys looked really, really good and had the ability to beat just about anyone. The last game of the year was a huge surprise to me. I honestly thought that the Bills would throw in their second stringers and Miami
they don't like
would
us.
win. And
They don't like us because we threaten them, and we're going to show them eventually.
Yep.
When Watson comes.
Well, TD, appreciate you being on here. Spend a moment or so. Plug yourself a little bit real quick.
But first off, thanks for having me, Colts Law. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe, hit that like button, show love and support. Make sure you hit up the Cash App, PayPal, show the support over here, man. The homie is doing good things, great things, growing the channel, representing for Colts Nation. And I respect the Colts, even though y'all going to take this L. But listen, man, it's TD Phins Talk. Y'all know where to find me at TD Phins Talk on YouTube, every platform. Appreciate you having me, man, and hopefully we can do it again sometime, all right?
Absolutely, man. Maybe we'll do a post-game thing. I don't know. It's possible.
Yeah. See how much the loss hurts you guys.
It's possible. All right, guys. Until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. We got TD Phins Talk, and as usual, have a good one.
Yes. See you guys on the round table in a little bit.
Just because a player's not a household name doesn't mean we can't make him a household name.